Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. It's my pleasure to present my research work today, which is the cross-sectional seasonality in Sharia compliant stock returns. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ghayasuddin, and this research has been conducted under the supervision of Dr. Muhammad Wajid Raza. I would like to thank to Dr. Muhammad Wajid Raza for his continued support, valuable guidance, mentorship throughout this research journey. To begin the proper presentation, I will first provide an overview of the structure and the key content. In the first few slides, we will discuss about the study background, objectives of the study, and hypothesis. Following that, we will discuss the study methodology adapted for this research, and finally, we will discuss the main finding and conclusion. So let's begin the proper presentation. According to the efficient market hypothesis, which introduced by Pharma in 1965. In efficient market, the equity price reflects all the available information and this no one can generate the abnormal returns. Many research studies tested this hypothesis and we divided this into two groups. The first group of the study conclude that the efficient market hypothesis is right and no one can predict the future return by using only the past data. Others have challenged this hypothesis where they conclude that the markets are not efficient and investor can generate the abnormal returns by using anomalies. Now, the anomaly is said to be when that is not in accordance with the current theory. Now, the question arises, does this market anomaly exist? So the answer is yes. Research studies have explored many anomalies, for example, January effect, day of the week effect, turn of the month effect. But, but the most prevalent and important asset pricing anomaly, which has been explored recently, is cross-sectional anomaly, introduced by Hudson and Setka in 2008. And according to this anomaly, the highest or lowest average return in the same calendar month tend to outperform, or maybe they will underperform in the same calendar month next year. This anomaly explored in different asset class in different market, like in equities, cryptocurrencies, government bond, stock markets, and in different markets like USA and China. But the most prominent asset class which has not been explored yet is Sharia compliant stock returns. We found no study which has tested this cross-sectional seasonality in the return of Sharia compliant stock. So, what is Sharia compliant stock? Which show a tremendous growth in the last few decades, which is the Islamic alternative to traditional stock. Sharia compliant stock is structured according to Sharia investment principles. Do not invest in non-compliant activities like riba and harar. And the most important things, the core operation of the equity issuing firms is also according to the Sharia law. Objective and research question. The main objective is to investigate the existence of cross-sectional seasonality in Sharia compliant stock return, where the other two to investigate the predicting power of C's, which is the main variable, to investigate the effect of controlling variables on the returns of Sharia compliant stock. Anomaly exists in Sharia compliant stock returns. Does this C's predict Sharia compliant stock returns? So now we are going to discuss about the methodology. We identify the cross-sectional seasonality in individual Sharia compliant stock using these methods, where the target population was all the Sharia compliant stock listed in 6 Southeast Asian emerging markets. The simple unit was individual Sharia compliant stock and the convenience sampling was used, where the research paradigm was positivist paradigm. Data and time period. We have used two types of data, price data and fundamental data. Price data for the return and seasonal pattern calculation and fundamental data for the qualitative and quantitative screenings. And the time period was from 2000 to 2022. So this is the screening for Sharia stock returns. We follow the Dow Jones Islamic Index. In the first step, quantitative uh, financial screening, and the second, qualitative sectorial screening. So the descriptive analysis and inferential analysis have been used in this research. To identify the general characteristic of the data, we use the descriptive analysis. Where to test the predictive power of seasonal trend and forecasting future returns, we use inferential analysis. The correlational and regression analysis have been done in this inferential analysis. Return on a particular Sharia compliance stock returns was the dependent variables, where the C's, the average same month returns was the independent, and also we have used some control variables. So now we are going to discuss about the finding of our study. This is the descriptive analysis table where tools like mean and standard deviation have been used to find out the general characteristic of our data, where the positive mean value of returns of Sharia compliance stock and C's is of 0, indicating consistent positivity throughout the observer period. Favorable mean value of 0 and other also indicating which indicating contributing to the attractiveness of the market. Relatively low variability indicated by standard deviation value, suggesting stability and predictability in the returns. Now, in financial analysis, the ability of seasonal trend to predict the future returns. We have used the correlation analysis and regression analysis. For the regression, we have used the two-step Palma and Macbeth regression, which covering both cross-sectional and time series variation in the data. This is the correlational analysis, which show the strength and direction between the variables. So we observe the positive correlation between returns of Sharia compliance stock and all other variables. The only exception is beta and market value. None of the correlational value is high from 0.8, which indicate the absence of multi-collinearity. Analysis for the identification of seasonal trend study examined the aggregation and the style of Palma and Macbeth 1973. Both cross-sectional and time series variation are investigated in the data. A study examined the time series is in the first step, where in the second step, study investigate the cross-sectional test in the style of Palma and Macbeth. This is the time series uh, test result, where the C is variable. The same month average return show a positive relationship with the Sharia compliant stock returns, and all other variables except market value also show positive and significant relationship with Sharia compliant stock returns. The market value show negative and significant relationship with Sharia compliant stock returns. Which indicate that the presence of seasonality in the Southeast Asian Sharia compliant market. In the second step, we have done the cross-sectional test. This is the result of the cross-sectional test, which show positive and significant relationship. Returns are positively impacted by the seasonal effect, confirmation of seasonality in South Asian Sharia compliant stock market. Other factors play a very important role also. The C's coefficient confirms seasonality in South Asian Sharia compliant stock market. The opportunity for investor to capitalize on seasonal effect for abnormal returns. Of the study, advancement of asset pricing anomaly, provide empirical evidence of seasonal effect in stock return, confirm the existence of the cross-sectional seasonality in Sharia compliant stock, and exploration of controlling variables. The implication of the study about the theoretical implication which enhance the literature on asset pricing anomalies, reinforcing reinforcing the importance of considering seasonal factors in asset pricing model, help in the development of more comprehensive asset pricing model for Islamic financial market. In this practical implication, leverage cross-sectional seasonality to optimize asset allocation, market informed decision, risk management, and portfolio diversification. So thank you.